do not disturb mode, I think is what you're looking for. Anyways.
I've never used that before. So that just blocks all
calls and texts unless you put someone on there. Like I think my mom's on there.
Yeah.
On like she gets a free pass.
What about me?
Well, if you ever need me, I'm in the room next door, so.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. Yeah, this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Welcome back. Ha!
Hello, everyone. This is TJ's mixtape. I'm Tommy.
I'm
That's
Jacob. I'm loud and obnoxious sometimes, and Tommy doesn't like it.
We are a movie review podcast, but we're not doing that today.
No.
Just so you know, this is an archive episode.
Yeah, we don't know when this will be released.
So
we know when we're recording it, but you don't.
So when you listen to it, it means that we had to take a week off.
It's magic
to do something. So we're just gonna kind of talk out loud about stuff. There's no.
We really have no direction. I have
There's no script to it.
An idea of something I want to talk about, bring up, and I'll probably lead into that in a second. But we're just gonna literally see what happens when we just talk.
And it's.
You feel a little daunted about it, don't you?
Not really.
Okay, that's good.
I don't really have any emotion about it, to be honest. It's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes of your time, ideally.
Maybe. Let's see what happens.
Ideally.
Don't promise anything, man.
I'm not promising. I said ideally. And so, yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, we usually do movie reviews, but we're going to take a little break from that this week and
talk about anything and everything.
Talk about stuff.
Which I'll just go into that first thing that I thought about because I brought it up a couple weeks ago when we were talking about doing this. Your IMDb Watchlist. You don't have to pull it out, but I'm curious, like, what is the parameters to get on the watch list? Because I have a couple, like I was looking through mine.
That's actually an interesting question.
I have a couple of different like ways of like, because I don't do it all the time, but when I do, I can clearly look at the movie and be like, oh, I think I pretty sure I know exactly why I put it on there.
And I really make watch lists, but I don't really go back to it.
He likes to make lists and do nothing about it.
Yeah, I just like the list making. Director, cast, usually I would say are the parameters. Mm-hmm. If I really like the director, I have my top 5. Then I'm like, Del Toro, Guy Ritchie, stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But cast a lot of the time, and it usually has to be 3 or 4. I think 3 or 4 people that I'm like, okay, I'm.
So you actually have like a big parameter.
Yeah. And then the most basic lizard brain is if it sounds like a bonkers horror movie, just where I'm. All right. Not like Couch from Hell. I don't like that kind of shit.
You see, and that's a thing that I would put on my watch list.
Okay, well now I want to bring up my watch list
because mine is. I don't know if I'm ever going to think about this movie again. Like, that's one of them. So, like, I'll bring up mine, actually. So, we are bringing them up.
Yeah,
Look at this. How do you find it again? Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, like, here on my... I have this one that's been on here for the longest time. It's called The Guest. Came out in 2014. The description is a soldier introduces himself to the Peterson family claiming to be a friend of their son who died in action. After the young man is welcomed into their home, a series of accidental deaths seem to be connected to his presence. It has Micah Monroe in it, which I think that's probably why I put it on there, because I really like seeing where her career's been going. And I remember seeing a trailer from it, and I was like, this movie looks bad, actually. And I kind of like that. I'll start a really bad movie just to see how bad it is. And sometimes the horribleness will like get me invested in a different way than like a good movie. Mm-hmm. If it's just like a very blah movie, I'm like, whatever. But like, if it's really bad, I'm like, I need to watch the train wreck.
I feel like it makes it also, it tickles this. Because, we both would really like, I've been working on my spec script screenplay thing.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch something and be like, objectively, I know how you can make this better.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird like pat yourself on the back kind of thing.
I'm better than you.
But there are moments you're sitting there and you're just like, what the hell? I mean, like the first one, like I brought this up a while ago, The Sweet Blood of Jesus, that vampire movie by Spike Lee. Like that made it to the list. I'm like, Spike Lee made a vampire movie? Like, yeah, let's go. And it has a 4.5
And what year was that?
2014.
Yeah, okay.
And it's 2 hours and 3 minutes long, and it has a 4.5. And I'm like, all right, let's go. That sounds really fun. Like,
okay. So I have like
actually a lot of these I'm now realizing are movies I've seen that I just really want to rewatch. Like City by the Sea with Robert De Niro.
I have a couple of those. Like, I think. Oh, Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet is actually just one that's anime. It's just a great goddamn movie.
Oh, and I can also see there's a lot of on here that are ones that I wanted us to like. 9. I added that because I wanted to review that.
The animated one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Elijah Wood.
I have Surf Ninjas on here. I think that might have been for podcast reasons.
This is kind of cool. Looney Tunes back in action, but for some reason the thumbnail is Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Do you have Killing of the Sacred Deer on your watch list?
Mm-hmm.
So have you noticed that on IMDb?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's a weird glitch that happens. Like if you scroll too quickly, the image... Sometimes like another actor's image will just go into someone else's like on their thing. Like, you've never seen that before? Oh, that happens like all
I just
the
like
time.
that it was Looney Tunes back in action.
That is funny.
With Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Like here, I got a 3. Oh, yeah. Sorry, it kind of interrupted you. With the
No.
thought. I have a 3.9 1997 movie Trucks, and I think it was the 3.9. I think this was a rabbit hole I went down and I discovered this. Aliens arrive, parking in a geostationary orbit over Nevada using powers unknown to us. They declare war and use unmanned trucks as weapons. Is there anybody starring in it, or is it just the premise? I was like, let's go. Let's see, Brendan Fletcher. He's a recognizable face.
A lot of these have really low ratings.
That's the thing, is like I will like just start adding like low rated movies to my IMDb list because I'm curious, why is it so low? And
The New Mutants has a 5.3. I feel like that's pretty generous.
is that the one with Anya and
Yeah.
Maisie Williams?
The horror movie
Yeah,
thing.
that one, because it had potential. It set up a really interesting, cool story, and then it dropped the ball super hard.
Yeah, it got too comic booky at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. But kind of speaking of that, no. I mean, anything else you wanted to...
There's a movie on here that's called Whore.
Whore?
2008. It has Megan Fox in it.
That was rude. I'm sorry.
A group of young, hopeful teenagers who have come to Hollywood in hopes of an acting career find that the business is harder than they ever imagined.
No, what we should do. No, I'm thinking about... I don't know. That made me think of... I don't know why. I really don't. But it made me think of that movie Bully.
Bully with...
I don't remember.
Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold?
Not a comedy.
Oh.
They kill their bully. It's like an alpha dog kind of situation.
Is it with women?
No, it's a group of mixed boys, girls.
Because I was like sitting there thinking, are you thinking of Jawbreaker?
Okay, fine. What's one's Jawbreaker? No, okay. I don't know. The Hard Candy. A movie like a really dramatic, trauma-ridden thing.
Okay,
We should do a couple of those with a real big disclaimer on the front, being like, we're going to talk about some shit. Hard Candy's great.
Hard Candy is absolutely fantastic.
You won't look at Patrick Wilson the same way again.
No. I wrote an essay in school in one of my film classes about that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I broke down the color filter and how it reflected with Haley's mood in it.
I haven't seen it forever, so.
So pretty much whenever she's kind of like being all like whimsy and like, oh, blah, 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 blah. The color grade is like super like clear. It's like, clear skies coming through and whatnot. But when she gets really serious about like what she's doing to him, then it gets really like overcast looking.
I was gonna say, I just remember the movie looking very overcast and
yeah, it's gloomy. Back and forth with it, which that movie is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Patrick Wilson.
So do I. I feel like
I kind of wish he'd get out of the lane that he's in.
The weird horror lane. But he's also in superhero stuff.
Yeah, it's a weird lane. But he's also, it's like, he's
just doing what he wants to do. He's having fun.
Yeah, he's making money. I mean, good for him. But I mean, it's like really mediocre horror movies and really mediocre superhero movies.
Yeah, but they're making him money. They're making a lot of money.
God, that Aquaman sequel was really bad.
Yeah, it was.
That was really bad. Speaking of bad.
Oh, man.
Venom.
The Last Dance.
I liked it. I mean, that's not our official TJ's Mixtape review, but I liked it. I like that series. I don't care.
Yeah, but you do know that it was...
Oh, no, it wasn't good. No,
yeah.
I'm very much... Like, if we were rating it, it would be different. But it's like, I don't think they're stupid and fun. And...
I've never watched a movie that maybe... No. It was surprising to watch a movie, and I watch it every once in a while, where there's these moments where you're like, there's a good movie right there. In that moment, that was a good movie. And then it just derails it with something.
Leading up to all the good moments is a very uphill battle.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, with Last Dance is, like, the bare bones of it was fine. It was a fine action superhero alien movie thing. It was like totally fine. It really just was the dialogue writing was really atrocious.
Well, and the introduction of our villain and the lack thereof with him.
I still think that was the best move. I mean, that's my biggest complaint about superhero stuff.
I agree that the less used of him was the better thing, but they could have done less of it as well. They didn't need that big intro right at the beginning.
Well, that was again the dialogue that they were spoon feeding us.
Well, yeah,
who Null is,
but that entire sequence, even dialogue or regardless, didn't need to exist at the beginning. It was such a exposition spoon fed like scene that you didn't need for the movie.
But I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is it's like that scene is fine. Like that's very tropey, cut of the mill superhero thing. Introduce the villain like that. But it really comes down to the dialogue is who's he talking to?
Yeah. Oh, he's talking to his children.
Sure. I don't know. He
was.
No, but it didn't.
It wasn't written well enough.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He wasn't. He might have been in the movie, but it's like you didn't believe that. He's talking to you as the audience, and it was just kind of like, like, okay, I don't know. It was that Incredibles things. You caught me monologuing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like, calm down, no. But, it's like, in the original, the OG Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, I still have an issue that they killed Joker.
Yeah.
In that movie, So I was like, yeah, no, don't use him that much. And then you can always save him for later. That way we won't have the God Butcher situation again.
They didn't really know what they fully at that time. I wouldn't be surprised if, because actually Tim Burton had a lot of creative control over that. So he probably didn't. There was probably no studio exec that was like, you need to kill the Joker.
I don't think that matters in the sense, if you plan on making sequels or not, but if it's something based off of a long running source material, and this villain has been around for the entire career of your hero, then he goes to jail or disappears or he doesn't pancake into the city floor.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying.
What if Jack Nicholson was like, kill him? I can see Jack Nicholson doing that.
I honestly think it was just in the sense of movie making narratives. Like the audience wants to see the villain die. In a superhero movie.
And we're wrong a lot of the time.
The audience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's just that's like movie making. Well, especially like late 80s, early 90s.
The bad guy always died.
Yeah.
Still, my point stands.
I mean, yeah.
Killing major villains in the first movie is always a bad idea.
I think just killing major villains in general, if you're creating comic book stuff nowadays, especially. But like, it's just like I think that like in that era, nobody knew superhero stuff was going to continue like this ever.
Okay, still wrong. Anyways, but Venom, I liked it. Yeah. I thought it was fun. But I liked Morbius, and I'm really curious about Craven. I did see that clip I told you about where he's outing the dude. And I was like,
I enjoy watching these to see what happened. And, you know, there is the comic book nerd in me that still has the want for comic book movies, you know. I just want them to be better, obviously.
I think also Craven kind of was doomed out of the gate because they wrote Craven so well in Marvel Spider-Man 2.
I still haven't played it.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna spoil anything if you the listener too hasn't gotten around to it. But Craven is really well written in that, and he's such a, I think for a not common for a fan, a non-diehard fan. A casual comic book fan, Craven's kind of B tier, C tier. Like he's not the Joker or Doc Ock or Goblin. You
Upper
know,
B tier.
He's in Bane kind of area. Big tank kind of guy that just kind of comes in and messes stuff up. For the casual viewer, he has a much longer history than that.
Yeah, because he is like a very
But for the casual, he's not in the Sinister Six kind of thing. But he's not, right?
He's not the main arc nemesis.
No. And it was one of those things it was like the opposite of Blue Beetle. It's like they put Craven really in the spotlight as the villain. And he was really cool. And then this movie came out, and I think that people are like, especially because it's like, oh, we got a really cool Craven just a little while ago, and then this one happened. I'm kind of curious how they wrote him. I mean, and what's his name?
Aaron
Johnson?
Tyler Johnson?
Aaron Taylor?
Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Aaron Tyler?
Anya Taylor
Joy Thompson.
Why? I just realized, are their initials all this? Are they the same? Anya Taylor.
They're both
Joy?
babes.
Aaron Tyler Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Then Anya. Look up hers.
Taylor Joy.
Taylor Joy?
Or is it Joy Taylor?
Sorry, listen. This has got to be like listening to
so
Anya Taylor Joy. Aaron Taylor Johnson. Crazy.
Whoa, conspiracy.
Do you think they're related? That's actually, no, that is kind of interesting. That is weird that there's two people in Hollywood with Taylor hyphenated names. That's weird. And both beginning with a J. It's like, where are they connected, man?
You're putting a lot of weight into it. But yeah, I'm curious just how that goes. And then you have like Russell Crowe's weird kind of resurgence into superhero movies.
What, is Zeus?
And he's also Craven's dad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Craven's dad in that.
Well, and he was Superman's dad.
Yeah, and he was Superman's. Weird. It's like
Jor-El. Yeah, Jor-El.
Like getting a lot of like comic book stuff, but just kind of over here.
I mean, okay. In his prime, who would have Russell Crowe been a good?
Wait, he's Superman's dad.
I just said that.
No, but who's Superman? Oh, right. I'm getting.
Oh, you never saw Man of Steel?
No, but also with Man of Steel, I was thinking of what's his name?
Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I was like, no, he's not. Kevin Costner's his dad. And I was like, wait, he has two dads.
Yeah, he has his biological Jor-El.
Yeah, and his adopted dad. I forgot about that whole.
You forgot.
Don't bring it up.
Superman was an alien.
No, I forgot. I forgot about the Crystal dad. I forgot about Marlon Brando.
Oh, from the original.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Does Marlon Brando play Jor-El? Mm. Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty good if you haven't seen it. It's just like that 70s. It's so cheesy, and he kind of looks like Elvis mixed with a beauty girl dropout.
Oh, beauty school dropout.
Yeah, it kind of has that kind of vibe to him. That's the two things. Like,
Grease.
Yeah, kind of Grease dream sequence mixed with Zeus. I mean, with Elvis and then Marlon Brando. It's kind of this weird fever dream kind of moment. It's pretty great. My son.
Gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
You're gonna be the hero. It's a terrible.
A cat comes in, he starts petting
It's
it.
a terrible Brando impression.
I was about to, and I was like, I'm just gonna kind of say it plainly.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's a well, especially Godfather because he had a
No, but he also just kind of talked like that.
Brando, a little bit,
Kind of, you know.
Yeah, the timbre of his voice.
Like even Island of Dr. Monroe.
Monroe.
Well,
You
I always
always
do that.
do that.
What is it? Island of
Moreau.
Moreau. What was it? Happy birthday. I do not have the intelligence to explain. Yeah, he kind of has this.
But yeah, okay. But Russell Crowe, who in his prime, like if he was put in like DC or Marvel, who do you think he would be a good cast as, villain or like main villain or main hero?
Oh, like in his prime?
Yeah, so like what 2000s, like Gladiator time, Russell Crowe, American, Beautiful Mind. I was like, but
okay. I thought they were calling him American.
Isn't he an American?
I thought no.
Is he British?
No, I thought he was. I thought he was like Australian or something.
Is he?
A New Zealand-born
yeah,
Australian actor.
I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, yeah, he does have an accent,
and he's crazy.
That's why him and Hugh Jackman get along, probably.
Oh
no, Hugh Jackman's Australian.
Well, he's a New Zealand-born Australian actor.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
born in New Zealand.
He's all over the place. But yeah, Russell Crowe. I was thinking, Bruce Banner, Hulk.
Yeah, I was thinking one of those guys. I was thinking like super. I mean, I think an obvious pick could be Superman.
Yeah. So many fucking people. So many generic-looking white dudes could be Superman.
Yeah, that's
though.
it. Kind of. That's.
I think like over the like, I will give Henry Cavill a lot of credit on his take with Superman because he just was continued the workout regime and kept himself big.
The workout regime.
Yeah, keeping himself muscular and big.
Routine.
Regime.
Huh.
Regimen.
Okay, regimen. That makes more sense.
Isn't regime another way to pronounce that? Is it not?
No, isn't like regime. Never mind. Moving on. I don't. Regime.
I know regime.
Yeah,
regimen,
that's a thing.
But if you take the end, then it's a regime. Regime.
A government, especially an authoritarian.
All right.
Authoritarian one.
I've been using that word wrong.
Yeah, I was like regime. Like I'm pretty sure that's funny mustaches and stuff.
Hey. Henry Cavill did a great job keeping up.
Like the second one is a system or planned way of doing things, especially one imposed from above. The example: detention centers with a very tough physical regime.
So I was like 30% there. All right. 30%. I'm going to say 30% there with it.
Oh, man, that was a terrible joke.
Moving on.
Oh, yeah, let's move on before I say it. That was a terrible joke.
Henry Cavill did a good job staying fit for Superman and really did a good job. I felt like was probably our best Superman we've had.
I think that he nailed it when they made him scary. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he actually really did a good job of scary. Because when scary Superman's scary, he's really scary.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Like, they really nailed that. It was just a brief moment, but that Injustice Superman, they nailed that really well in that movie.
When he kills the Joker? Are you talking about... Oh, in the movies.
Yeah. Like they
captured that
vibe of him really well. Like, so I really don't care for the Justice League franchise, and really the Zack Snyder one was too long. Watched it too many times.
Too long, but still better than the Joss Whedon cut.
The superhero scene that lives in my mind, it's like the Quicksilver and X-Men Days of Future Past. Was that the one where the house blows up and he like saves everybody? That's like in my top 5. That's a great superhero scene. And then the other one, weirdly, another speedster one, is when Flash is trying to go around Superman, and then you see Superman's eyes following him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the, and I was like, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That was really cool way of doing that.
It's interesting ways of like showing someone's powers or a way of
without Dragon Ball Zing it.
yeah.
Just a little subtlety to it. No, I thought Henry Cavill was really great as Superman. I mean, I still haven't seen Man of Steel, and I don't know why. I just don't.
Yeah.
Just not interested. I'm really not interested in superhero shit very much anymore.
I know.
I'm just not.
It's because the market's gotten really saturated with it all.
It's not interesting.
I can disagree a little bit with that. I think they can be interesting.
Okay, well, like what's the last? I'm not, and this isn't a challenge. I'm just like, what is the last one you found really interesting?
What is the last one I watched? Let's see what's up. Venom.
Not interesting. Fun. Not interesting.
It might have actually been No Way Home.
I don't. Is that the 3 Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
I don't count that one.
Why?
I mean, it's
Why?
a good movie. Why? Because it's so banking on the nostalgia and cameos. It's kind of like a lot of those crossover ones are just like, look who we got, and it's the ultimate epitome of them. Loving the movie, think it's a great movie, but I mean, it's not. It's multiverse stuff is not interesting anymore.
But I feel like they did a good job with that because
I didn't say they didn't do a good job.
And that's when I'm trying to defend why it was interesting and why you should fucking count it. Sorry. Because I mean. The multiverse stuff has gotten really saturated. Yes, it's happening all over the fucking place. But the way that they used it as more of a way for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, for his Parker, to have an arc and learn from other people and the other Parkers and actually come out the end a better changed Parker makes it an interesting story. It's like the movie's well written.
I didn't say it was not written. I just didn't think it was interesting. And then Willem Dafoe is still Goblin, but secretly not Goblin. And then, oh, lo and behold, he is Goblin. And I don't know. I just didn't.
Did we watch the same movie?
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times, and I think it's great. But I'm just saying, like, I just think it's.
Then what's the last interesting one that you saw?
I was gonna say Into the Spider-Verse just because the art style.
Oh, that's a good one.
They made it visually very interesting.
I guess, what do you mean by interesting?
Kind of
like unique, like trying something new.
Trying something new that isn't just like, because even Blue Beetle was just kind of.
Then really the last one for that was probably Infinity War. Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, that whole stuff is there.
But even that has a gimmick of it's animated.
The last one that really did something interesting in like a unique new way is Infinity War, because they killed everyone. They killed all the heroes, or half the heroes, in that sense. You could maybe argue Multiverse of Madness because they turned Wanda.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I feel like with a lot of them too, inherently has something in this kind of fantasy world that makes it kind of true. I was thinking Days of Future Past I found really interesting. Mm-hmm. This whole idea of like the way they did time travel of taking his consciousness and just putting it somewhere else. I thought was cool, but then you're kind of like, that's time travel though. It's not very interesting anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
and it's with Hugh Jackman, time travel.
Yeah, you're just like, it's not really interesting.
And then he finds Meg Ryan and they fall in love, and he's got to jump off a bridge again.
Yeah, like, it's just like, which one was interesting? I think that, if you want to jump really back, like Constantine is a really interesting thing, but it also, it's more interesting if you know it's a comic book, but if you don't know it's a comic book, it's just an occult movie, so then it's not interesting because it's kind of the same shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a really hard thing to balance.
I'm going to branch it out. What's the last interesting movie you watched?
Substance.
Yeah, I was like, if he's going to say The Substance, because
that is an interesting movie. You know what I mean? And that's even the thing. It's like, you can think a movie's interesting and not like it.
Yeah.
And those are two different thoughts, the substance, and then I'm just saying, you can watch something and be like, yeah, it wasn't my thing, but I was curious what was going to happen, and then it ended, and like Saltburn was interesting.
In the sense of like what you're asking, what was the last interesting, is you're saying no superhero movies are interesting because they are just superhero movies.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just finally realizing that. Then it's. And
then I'm sitting there looking at, so it's like, what was interesting about it being a superhero movie? What was the last superhero movie that was interesting in the sense of superhero?
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That's my answer off the top of my head. I would say that one's the most.
And that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
And when you ask me about interesting, because for me, what I find interesting is when it's actually, you know, good. And like, it's like, oh, it's interesting because it's making me care. It's making me, I see it like it's using different ways. Because I will say that Peter Parker's character arc through all the MCU right now has been kind of an up and down. And since he is like one of my favorite superheroes, I, you know, care about watching that journey. And it was interesting and fun to watch them use a multiverse scenario that happens in Spider-Man comics in general and do it well.
Well, and I know I'm really out on my own here, but that is probably the two Spider-Man multiverse movies are probably the best examples of multiverse,
like the Miles Morales
usage.
ones.
Yeah, the animated, and then what is it called? The third Spider-Man movie.
Oh, No Way Home.
No Way Home. I get them all.
Yeah.
The titles are too similar to me. Those are probably the best use of the multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Out there.
In superhero.
Yeah. In superhero.
Because I think one
language.
of the best uses of multiverse that I've seen is Anything Everywhere All at Once.
That's the example of just multiverse, and then there's there's these different if you want a subcategory of comic book multiverse, but like even I think X-Men actually is pretty good too, only in the sense because it was so bad for so long that they really fumbled it and then finally learned like okay, and then they did Days of Future Past and But, X-Men has notoriously been the one of introducing pretty important characters as a side character and then never bringing them up ever again. And you're like...
And that's okay. That was a Sony property, wasn't it?
Yeah, right?
For the longest...
For a long time. Long time. At least the first three. I don't know about after.
I think the rest of them still were.
Okay. But the first three were definitely... But yeah, I mean...
I didn't realize until a while ago, not too long ago, how linearly all of the X-Men movies and Wolverine movies all lay out and how they actually all fit in a timeline of their own.
Explain yourself.
So and just like in the years that they're released, I didn't realize how close they all were. And it almost seems like, it's clear that they're just like, what are we going to do next? And then what do we do this? Because First Class was what? 2010?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we have the first three, and then we have Wolverine Origins, and then
with Mortal Kombat Deadpool.
Yeah. And I think there is kind of a break there, because I think the next one after that is First Class.
Well, where does Apocalypse fit in?
That's the very end.
That's the very end?
Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Apocalypse?
Yeah. X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah, no, isn't Days of Future Past the
first? No. The most recent one is Dark Phoenix.
I never watched that.
It's not good.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Really? It's just that curse thing.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about the new Fantastic Four.
You are?
Yeah. No, I'm curious in the sense of don't make it.
Oh.
They keep trying and it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work.
I feel like we'll see what happens with this one. They're doing a unique thing with this one by putting them in the past. So it's the 70s.
That annoyed me more than anything else, actually.
Good. I'm glad it did.
Well, because where does it fit? It's a worry. It's a different universe.
That's probably what it's going to be.
Wasn't the whole big deal with Iron Man is he was the first public figure that came out as a superhero?
I mean, they may not be public figures like that.
It's the Fantastic Four. They wear blue and white uniforms with a big 4 on their chest, and he's a rock creature.
And you know what they also explored in that entire universe? That Ant-Man and the Wasp were secret agents for a long time that nobody knew about.
Go back public.
We're not saying anything about them being public in Fantastic Four right now.
They're always public.
They're public as their scientist forms.
The Fantastic Four are just like the Avengers. They're always public. They're like a group.
They weren't always public.
They were always public.
When they start out, they're not public. They become public later.
Well, yeah, but it's like the Avengers. But Ant-Man and the Wasp doesn't count, though, because they're like this big and they're secret agents. But the thing can't turn back into not the thing.
That's why you hide him. You put him in the cave.
You know what I saw recently? There's an alternate universe where the Thing gets made up of Infinity Stones.
Whoa.
It's like this 3 or 4 issue, but he goes off, like he needs to find more power to beat this big bad guy, and he goes off, and everyone's like, where are you going? He's like, to find power. And he leaves, and when he comes back, he's made of Infinity Stones.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And he's like, he has all the powers of the Infinity Gauntlet, basically.
Times 100.
He becomes basically Dr. Manhattan. You know, he sees all time at once kind of thing. I was like, that's kind of cool. I mean, too OP. Way too OP.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he only ran for like 4 issues. They're like, yeah, this guy's like...
We don't know what to do with this.
A universe-ending entity, so let's just like...
Put it in a box.
Yeah, like, put it away. That's kind of cool. How do you think, I haven't really looked at anything about it since we're kind of on the superhero kick. How do you think the new Captain America is?
I really want to see it still.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have, I mean, it just comes across my feed. Shouldn't have looked up or seen some quick reviews because it made me not want to go see it in the theaters anymore. I'm just weird. I feel I always want to see these movies in theaters because the experience of the theater.
Yeah, the surround sound and the whole, yeah.
But then I'm like, it's like fucking $20.
It's expensive.
And whatever month, it's kind of like...
Well, it's expensive you're paying for something you're going to get eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
That you're already paying for.
Yeah.
It's not like pre-ordering it and then you're going to get a physical copy and they're going to be like, here you go, this is now yours. It's like, go pay to watch this thing temporarily to then now pay to watch it temporarily, Yeah. It's just, it's a weird time to go see movies, and it really is going the way of the dodo. But
I really think is what I think would be the best thing is like whenever we're going to the theaters, it should try to be either IMAX or 4DX or something, just because then you're paying for the experience. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't watch an IMAX screen at home, but I can watch a good movie on a big screen at home with decent sound.
Yeah, there's just certain things like Nosferatu was fun to see in theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a really
visually captivating.
Ambiance in the dark theater with Bill Paxton's undead.
Bill Paxton?
What'd I say?
Bill Paxton.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bill Skarsgård.
There you go.
And his undead flippity floppity flopping around.
And he's humping as he's sucking.
Oh God. That did remind me a lot of Del Toro's second Blade vampires, the vampires.
I thought their shit went.
Yeah, but they had gills on their back. They're like ticks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They had like their lungs came out and they could breathe out of their back.
Wasn't the same kind of vampire in the third
strain
one too?
Oh, yeah, no. They introduce that they're taking that and they're splicing other animals, and that's when Ryan Reynolds is like, "Is that a fucking vampire Pomeranian?"
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then Dracula has that thing for some reason.
That's right. Dracula's in that one.
He's the big bad guy. And it's the guy from Prison Break. I can't remember what his name is.
And Triple H is a vampire in that too. A wrestler.
Yeah, he sure is. With silver teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forgot that was Triple H.
Yeah. He's the one that has the Pomeranian.
Yeah. And all he really ever does that whole movie is he just swears really obscenely and kind of awkwardly.
And stares.
Fuck face. Showing off his teeth. And isn't it Parker Posey? Parker Posey's actually pretty funny.
She's
one of
Parker
Posey?
One of the other vampires?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take your word for that.
She's Ryan Reynolds' ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Because he was a vampire.
Okay, I always forget about this. Is it in the actual movie, or was it an unreleased alternate ending when
werewolf?
Yeah, they're hunting the werewolf. It's an alternate. That's on YouTube, right?
It's on the DVD. But
okay. Yeah.
And looks like Booster from Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, that's right. What if they just repurposed that costume?
It's like Booster wearing cowboy outfit. Like a hat. It's like, what the hell? It's like because we reviewed the first one. That's such a weird
I think we brought it up on the first one.
Probably, but that was how long ago?
A long time ago.
But it's such a weird trilogy to watch because you have the first one, which is really 90s and action, kind of creepy. And then you have the second one, which is really dark, very kind of vibe, very somewhere deep in Eastern Europe. And it's actually pretty creepy and pretty scary. All the vampires.
It's Del Toro.
The visuals of it are very him.
I'm kind of curious. Keep talking.
And then the third one is kind of just this buck wild buddy cop adventure, but with vampires. It's kind of
It's like weird. They got Ryan Reynolds and they're like, well, we got to make it somewhat funny now. You know what I mean?
And then they started giving Wesley Snipes like funny lines, which was also kind of awkward.
I think that was just Wesley Snipes saying shit, man.
Well, like,
especially by the third one.
I can't tell you, he'll kill you. Motherfucker, I'll kill you.
Yeah, right?
And he looks at the baby and he goes, gushy goo. Like, there's just kind of wild shit happening. You're like, whose idea was this?
Okay, you got to think that was possibly Wesley Snipes, because think about in Demolition Man when the little Asian kids walked by.
Oh, yeah. It could have been.
Like, he's just saying shit, man.
I mean, that was my favorite thing about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay, so the first one was directed by Stephen Norrington.
Was Blade.
Who did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Alien 3? Special effects. Okay. Del Toro directed the second one.
Who did the third one?
And the third one is David S. Goyer, who wrote the first one. And Goyer, writer for Dark City. Director. Come on, let's go to director. Well, come on. Director. Producer. Jesus Christ, come on. Fine, I'll hit this button. Stupid IMDb not giving me what. Oh, he's only directed 9 things. The Invisible. Hey, that's on my watch list.
Was that with what's his name?
The Unborn.
What's The Invisible?
I'll in 1 second. So he hasn't directed a lot of things. I want to say, I think I watched this one. Yeah, it has Justin Chatwin in it.
Isn't that the guy that kind of looks like...
He's Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah, he reminds me of Billy Joel Armstrong.
Oh, I can see that.
You can see that, right?
Yeah. So The Invisible...
Like if there's going to be a biopic of Green Day, hire him.
Yeah. If he can sing. After an attack leaves him in limbo, invisible to the living but also near death, a teenager discovers the only person who might be able to see him is his assailant. I saw this movie.
And it's like he's like in the bottom of a ditch or something, and he's like having like out of body experience.
Yeah.
And his body's dying.
Something like that. Yeah.
What year was that? 2002?
No. Maybe
2006.
I'm just gonna say closer around then.
That's my official guess.
Oh God.
It feels like a 2006 movie.
I gotta go
because
down a rabbit hole here to get to it.
The 2000, that era, like of the 2000s before, kind of leading into the 2010s.
It's 2007.
Nice. There was a lot of like these weird kind of dark spirit occulty things that were still in the like limelight. Like remember the Covenant or the Covenant?
Covenant. That sounds right.
It's a bunch of pretty boys that have magical warlock powers.
Oh, God, yeah.
And if they use them too much before their 18th birthday, they'll die. But then there's like one bad one.
I don't think I ever watched it, but I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
It's very like Highlander meets The Crafts meets The Skulls. Ooh, that's, yeah, there you go.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, The Skulls, right? That's a deep cut.
I got a 4.7 directed by David S. Goyer, starring Gary Oldman, called The Unborn.
Oh, that's on my watch list. And it's because it's a 4.7. It's Gary
Oldman.
And then read it again. What is it about?
When Casey Belden witnesses a series of paranormal activities around her, she takes the help of a spiritual advisor and soon finds out a frightful family secret solely responsible for her condition.
Yeah, that's why. I was like,
this sounds
I was like, read
awful.
plot and then read actor. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah, it's Gary Oldman, Megan Good, Idris Elba.
It's got Idris Elba in it.
James Remar. What
Cool.
the fuck? Carla Gugino. What the fuck? Gugino. That's her name. This has got a crazy cast.
Yep, that's why it's on the list.
I like how I found a movie on your list.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's David S. Goyer, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's someone that you're like, oh, wait, I'm feeling, yeah, he's done this. Yeah, able to see what else. Yeah. Are we running out of steam?
No, I just was trying to think of something that wasn't comic book related, superhero related.
I mean, we're just talking about movies.
What are we at?
We're at like 46.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, man, on my word.
That's why I asked if we were running out of steam. And the more we just kind of go like, well, what about this? Just feels like we're,
Yeah.
Unless you have anything video game stuff wise you want to bring up real quick.
No, I've been kind of, I could ask the audience. I've been shopping around for another survival game. I'm almost, I'm getting pretty done there with Grounded. It feels like I'm at that tail end, and it's not something, I'm not someone that can New Game Plus immediately. I know some people are like that, but I'm like, I have to give it a while.
That really depends on the game, on a New Game Plus situation.
For you?
Yeah. And I feel like, for probably a lot of people, like, what is the New Game Plus benefit?
Yeah.
Like, I brought it up a handful of times. The only game I really like doing New Game Plus a lot with is Chrono Trigger, and that's because of the multiple endings. There's 13 different endings in that game. So, like, the reward is to get to a certain point. And then, since it's a game about timelines, you're like at the end of a certain timeline, you go and beat the game, and then you have a new ending because you didn't finish the other timelines. Something like that is interesting. When it's just like a New Game Plus, and then it's like, there's no more challenging things to do, I'm just like, I don't really care. Like, what's the reward afterwards?
Well, a survival game is a good one for New Game Plus because you can start off the game with all the recipes, and then you could really plan out what you're going to be. If you're really into building stuff, then that's a good reason to do it.
But what's the reward?
That you get all the stuff.
No, what's the reward at the end when you beat it again?
Oh, I don't know. I know I was reading online that Grounded has you only get this on New Game Plus 2 and New Game Plus 3, and they actually
is that recipes of stuff?
I don't know. I didn't really want to spoil it. I just saw that.
I guess that's what I mean. Is like, for the point of a New Game Plus for me, there needs to be, for me, a reason for me to play it all the way through again.
Well, then also,
unless the New Game Plus mechanic, I'm not saying unless for me, if the New Game Plus mechanic is just to be in that world at the very, with everything again, so you can just fuck around in the world and it doesn't matter. Sure, that's fine. I feel like every game should have that.
Well, Witcher 3 is a good one, and now I'm thinking that a really heavy narrative action game like that is probably a good one to do it with, because it's 170 hours to 100% that game. To do everything. I think it's officially, if you 100%, it's 177 or something like that, something crazy. But it's so dense, and you learn recipes and tools and stuff along the way, that when I New Game Plus that was really fun to start off as the beginning of the game, because you know what it is? It's like that thing with every God of War, right? Every God of War, you get reintroduced to Kratos and someone steals his fucking powers, and then you have to start over.
Devil May Cry.
Yeah, oh no, this fork has been cursed. Oh, and it sucks all your energy. I gotta get the fork back. And you're like, okay, here we go. It becomes...
We should write a satirical game like that, actually.
And it just gets tiresome, especially if you're a fan of the franchise. I remember getting to the third one and being like, I know why they're doing it. It makes sense from a video game standpoint, but it's really fucking annoying because just a couple of years ago, I got him fucking OG. Let's go.
Every Metroid, Samus loses all of her shit.
It's kind of, and especially in a world that is as rich as something like The Witcher, that's just the one that's coming off the top of my head, it's kind of fun to start off with a really powerful Geralt, because he's fucking Geralt. He's been around for decades. He is the monster. He's the White Wolf.
Yeah.
And so him getting his ass kicked left and right by the low level shit, you're like, well, no, he wouldn't. And then it makes the bigger monsters more because they're stronger and everything, makes it more of a challenge. So it actually makes the world feel more flushed out and actually like one of the books, or you know, it kind of elevates it to, well, yeah, he would be at this point in this story, he would be up to this level of monster hunting. Well, he wouldn't be at 0. He would be level 62
I think
or
it's
whatever.
Like for I guess in some RPGs that I've played, when you're playing a character that already has like a rich history, the first like monsters you encounter should be just like, you know, fodder. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe one big boss. It's like, oh yeah, you know, to just show the sheer strength of the character. Which that's not what The Witcher does. Like the first monsters you're running into can wreck you.
I mean, from what I remember, but I mean, I played the just standard version so long ago. But what I mean more is that his resources he has at his disposal are at the level that he would already have had. Yeah. Well, like his oils and his potions and
I when you talking about that, I kind of realized, and also I thought back like, what games have I done New Game Plus in, or just played again, and why have I done that? And the big thing for me in New Game Plus is if I'm going to play New Game Plus, I want there to be something new, not just I'm strong now and I can do whatever I want. You know, like in Elden Ring, when you do a certain thing, it blocks you from being able to do another thing. So in Baldur's Gate, the reason why I played Baldur's Gate so many times is because there's so many different choices.
Yeah, that's like, what is that? Oh, like that vampire game, the Dawn Walker that I was telling you about.
Okay.
By that offset of Project City Red. They're doing that. They're making it so it is that you pick this path and then you are stuck on that path until you get to the next fork, and then so it's making it so it's really replayable. So you can get all 8 endings.
And then the question then with that becomes, do you get a New Game Plus and you can just be as powerful as you were
and kind of blow through,
or do you have to start over each time?
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate, the only reason I'm okay with it starting over each time is
there's no New Game Plus?
No.
Oh, that seems like there would be on that.
No, because it's D&D. You don't transfer a character between D&D campaigns, really. That's an old school D&D mechanic, but in 5th edition, your character is built for that campaign.
Okay.
But once you play enough Baldur's Gate, you can blow through the beginning of it like that and get your character to level 5 really fast. Because you just, like, by the time you beat Baldur's Gate, the tactical mechanics of it are just a lot more understanding. You're a lot quicker at the battle and whatnot.
It's talking about it, I think that's what it is. New Game Plus, as long as they give you tools and gadgets that you had spent all your like Spider-Man and Batman are 2 examples, because that's so gadget heavy. You don't have to use them, but you can have a lot of fun if you do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. It's like really do or don't if you want to be sneaky and use all this stuff, or if you want to just go in there guns blazing. But like the Batman games are really fun to New Game Plus and start off with all of his stuff fully upgraded and unlocked, and you could really and that's what you're kind of saying. Batman. You can kind of just fuck around and like.
And I can see that being an enticing thing, but it's not for me.
Yeah, so it's just kind of, I guess it's just how you play video games.
It's like the only reason I want to replay video games because it's been so long that I just want to experience it again. Or there is something new to find. Yeah,
the 2 I want to do is Uncharted. I really want to replay that.
I wouldn't mind playing the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Or the 4th one.
The 4th one again. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun to revisit that, because that was just a fucking incredible
I've been feeling playing The Last of Us again.
I have too. I've been feeling that, and I've also been wanting to play Red Dead Redemption 2 again, but I cannot get myself to commit to that.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah.
I would have to commit to just playing it a first time.
It's a lot. I was just, like, for those that have played it and know, I'm thinking about the intro.
Yeah.
The fucking on the horse in the mountains.
I haven't even gotten through that.
No.
It's like snowy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a long
troll
monologue of just how we got here.
I've realized I have a hard time going back and like feeling nostalgia replay or just replay games that are past PS2. Like, you see me, I'll replay like Final Fantasy games from the Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, some PlayStation. Oh,
so you're saying anything past PS2?
I've never had a big desire to replay.
So something that was just on PS3 or something, and you're like, nah.
Last of Us. was PS3, and I'm now starting to feel the desire to replay.
Well, now you can play it on the PS5.
Exactly.
It's actually it's on the premium whatever.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's just like I was thinking about like my comfort food replay stuff is generally Super Nintendo, maybe some PlayStation, some 64. It's never been PlayStation 3 and forward. Like I've never replayed any game that I beat on the PlayStation 4.
I think the only one I've ever
Once I've beaten the game, I'm done with it.
Played regularly from that era is probably the Fable Anniversary Edition. I played that a couple times.
And I feel like there's a nostalgia for you from your childhood playing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that game has a lot of charm to it, and that's why I like it. The music's great, and the voice acting's fun, and it's pretty rough looking now, especially compared to the new one that just got announced and the teaser footage they put out for that.
Interesting.
Okay. It does look like it still has the charm and that kind of cottony kind of kind of comedy to it. So I'm not really looking into that very much because I'm such a fan of that series, even the mediocre second and third one. I'm worried that it's going to lose its identity.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't have the humor and charm to it, I think it's going to really not work out because it's really not that interesting. It's just a fantasy RPG.
Yeah.
And its charm and humor is
how much is there like building in that, in the sense of kind of like what we've done in Grounded or like Fallout 4, like base stuff?
In Fable?
Yeah.
None.
Okay. And I'm starting to think about that too, is like in my sense of what I like to replay. I always get this feeling of and want to possibly play Fallout 4 again.
But you want
But the amount of hours I put into building the encampments that I did, the bases that I did, it's just like, I don't want to do that again. And I don't have to. I could just do the storyline.
That's funny because a lot of people would do the opposite and be like, I want to build it bigger and better or more efficient. And
I get bored with it after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Like Fallout 4 is the most I ever put into anything like that.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty like basic.
Well, I've never been a Minecraft guy, you know?
No, that's not a dig or anything.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty straightforward.
I'm just putting an example out there.
Yeah, you're not building from the ground up. Yeah. You're kind of...
Which is weird. I liked Legos when I was a kid, but I was just like, how tall can I make this wall? I pretty much type of Lego kid.
Oh, yeah. That's where this started. I was asking for recommendations on any survival games, kind of like Grounded.
Yeah.
Return to Moria. I did want to play that, actually. Plays dwarven smiths going back into Moria and taking it over from the goblins and orcs and stuff.
Lord of the Rings games. I don't know.
They're not good.
Although that goddamn, what is it called? The Nemesis system?
Oh, being locked until 2036.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's really unfortunate.
Again, if I remember, you didn't really look a lot into it, but it's owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend that came in this past weekend, and they were talking about what they knew about it, and have their finger, they're on the pulse of the industry, and they were kind of explaining it. It's not gonna do it justice, but yeah, they just have it and don't want to share, and it doesn't really make sense why. Where it's like you could have made this thing, trademarked it, and sold it to other companies to use as a software. And it would have been the amount of games that would have changed for the better. Yeah. Not even like, it could have made it cool. It objectively just would have made it a lot cooler is kind of insane.
I forget what game I used as an example that'd be great with it. Can you?
Red Dead Redemption 2?
No, I wasn't thinking that one because I haven't played that. But I mean, I guess, yeah. I'm going to take your word for that. Yeah.
I don't know how you'd entirely implement it, but just on the bare minimum of, it's this outlaw, and then you are starting to... actually, that wouldn't work. Because the whole deal is what's his name is immortal, basically. So it'd have to be someone that could get a killing hit and get back up. Unless you change the lore. I'm not sure. How would that work?
I don't know.
It'd either have to be your villain. Your hero can't die. Either it's like physical death mechanic, or they just get knocked out, or they're immortal and can resurrect to kind of push. That's how that pushed for the Nemesis program, is when you were defeated. It'd be cool for fighting games.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, man, that Nemesis program. When I was in there wondering, like, why aren't they doing anything with this? Because that Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War came out in 2014.
I don't even remember.
I think it's like 2014, 2015, something like that. And I'm like, where's this been for 10 years? This is really cool. This game is 10 years old, and not a lot of games really hold up still. Certain, there are obviously there are ones that do and don't, and a lot of them don't, in my opinion, just graphically and whatever, and just mechanically, they just don't function well. But like Shadow of War was really cool, and it was mainly just this one system, just made it really cool.
Yeah,
and I don't get it, and it's weird too because it's Warner Brothers, they own it, and they weren't putting it in their games either.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like, wait, you had this thing and you used it on 2 games. You fine-tuned it on the second game and then you never touched it ever again? It's just really weird.
It's very strange.
And then you locked everybody out of it.
It's mine. My precious.
Yeah.
I think we could probably wrap up soon.
Yeah, I'm done.
Do you have any last thoughts of anything?
No. Not really.
Yeah.
No. We'll tell you what we're doing next week, but we don't know.
Yeah.
This is a weird little pocket of time. So sorry if we're talking about really out-of-date stuff, but
I mean, I feel like we kept it in a very just casual conversation.
well, that's for them to decide.
Yeah. If this ever gets released, it's going to get released.
That's the point.
When it gets released, just let us know. Give us some feedback. Were we boring?
Probably.
But do you have thoughts on anything that we said? Superhero fatigue. What's interesting to you about a superhero movie?
What do you think the most interesting superhero movie is?
And what do you describe as interesting?
But yeah, join us next week for whatever we're doing. Just follow us on Instagram and Facebook. On there is our promos, so you'll know what we're doing when we finally decide what that's going to be. On those posts is our link tree, and that will take you to Spotify, Apple Pod, YouTube, so on and so forth.
Yes.
So thank you for listening. This was episode. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Later, guys.
Bye.